Welcome back, YouTube, to Manual Override.
What up?
We're your hosts, Rory and
Clint.
And we're here to talk about Hillary and the wide paintbrush swath that she hit so many of people we know and ourselves with the label of the alt-right.
The demonic alt-right.
Evidently, we are all racist, misogynist, bigoted, homophobes that listen to Milo Yiannopoulos for some damn reason.
So it's fabulous. We love Milo.
Yeah. How do you deny the fabulousity of that man?
Fabulousity. I like that.
All right. We're constitutional conservatives. We like our interpretation of the Constitution.
Well, we're trying to illuminate the general public on what the alt-right may or may not be. Having a little technical difficulties that I just can't seem to figure out. Anyways, we're trying to illuminate the general public on what we think the alt-right might be. When we listened to what Hillary Clinton had to say, we thought it was directly talking to us as people and just broadly saying, if you disagree with point A, B, C, or D, then you are a conspiracy theorist, or you are a racist, or neo-Nazi, or some derogatory, negative, hateful entity. And that is clearly not the truth, because really what we're boiling down is kind of the, I'm going to go ahead and say it's the Ron Paul conservative libertarian approach. So
I agree completely.
So we're gonna run down some of what we think, like, either our platform would find important, or what we think a, kind of a Ron Paul-centric Republican would consist of. And that is clearly what Hillary is attacking here. It's just anybody that believes in a certain set of values. And we are not talking racist values, because that is the complete, overblown, utter lie about the quote-unquote alt-right. What the alt-right really is a complete movement of liberty for all people. Agreed?
Bar none.
So let us discuss our little list that we've come up with here on just a few key points of what we believe the alt-right, like some of the philosophy or ideology of the alt-right, and we can kind of quantify and or explain that. As well as, if you have any questions, you can comment below.
The constitutional conservative, that sums up so much of the standpoint. Individual rights, especially the freedom of speech, needs to be protected aggressively.
Absolutely.
And it needs to be exercised aggressively.
Absolutely.
If there's somebody making trolling comments, this is not,
Team for what
respond
they are.
in kind. Engage in a dialogue. If there is somebody that's saying something that you don't agree with, counter what this person has to say. Provide a differing viewpoint. By and large, a lot of the alt-right is against the two-party system. I think this is really one of the biggest problems, and we can go with, we're individuals. We can go with whoever the hell we want. In this case, a great many of them are very, very skeptical of Hillary for a litany of reasons, besides her health, her trustworthiness, how she's just a general shifty bad person.
What you were saying right before
the two-party system.
The two-party system. Okay. So the two-party system. Let's realize and understand what has happened. Okay, you have a two-party system. Let's just talk numbers for a second. You have a candidate, Hillary Clinton, who is now completely found to have rigged one whole side of the two-party system. Okay? That gives you only one whole side that's not rigged. That's 50% of the system. Let's just, hypothetically, if you had 4 parties, let's just start with 4 and see where things go. But if you had 4 parties, Hillary could only rig 25%. Okay? So just that on face level is going to be good for America. Can we all just agree that that's probably a better future? And not only that, but they can inject issues that may change political discourse. Maybe if Jill Stein was in there, she might say something valid about an issue, and then that be reciprocated down the line where maybe Trump, if he is leading, they'll say, well, what about Jill Stein making this point? What do you think? And he'll say, lean towards what she said. The point is that it's important to hear different sides of all arguments and to think for ourselves. And how can we do that when we're presented with only 2 sides?
And when one
we
is
know
so
when
clearly
one side
rigged.
is rigged. So I mean, that's really
I mean,
it.
this is not a conspiracy theory.
Absolutely
There is no
not.
conspiracy here. The conspiracy is that the Russians come in and made this
Absolutely.
evil
Yes,
hack.
there's a
And so
conspiracy.
therefore we don't need to talk about what's in these emails between the DNC and all the major media outlets.
Yeah.
No, don't look there. That came from the Russians.
That's absolutely
There's
true.
nothing. There's
Now
nothing to see here, folks. Just move along and just, take your 2 choices and flip a fucking coin. No, Bernie got screwed. That's
heard of
just
a coin
plain
flip.
and simple.
They were saying like 10 states or something like that he actually should have won 10 more states. He absolutely got screwed. And it's horrible. It's abhorrent. He should have stood up for himself. I would never, if I was running for president of the United States of America, I would not I would not concede after I knew I got cheated. I would not endorse the person that cheated me. That goes back to a certain type of behavior we were talking about earlier that would just give a wink and a nod to. But, how, as a leader, you're going to lead America, but you're going to just fold like a lawn chair when you know you've been rigged? You're not going to stand up for yourself? Come on, that's ridiculous.
You need a spine. And,
Well,
I have to say, Bernie, I disagree with him on so many things. But one thing I really did like about Bernie was that he was stuck to his guns when they weren't popular. And that was his position for a very long time.
Yeah.
And for that reason, he did have true grassroots support.
He pointed out a lot of things that were very, the corruption and he pointed out a lot of issues on Wall Street and things like that are relevant.
Yes.
But his solutions to them, that's a different story. That's where the alt-right
which kind of comes to the alt-right position of bailouts.
We're on the same page of recoking some of the
big
issues
banks,
that
too
Bernie
big to
had,
fail.
but we're not going to solve them the way that Bernie wanted.
Too big to jail. We have
Right.
a different vision for how to do that. How to deal with these issues. But these are crony capitalism is one of the most despised aspects that we have in this country. That is despised by the alt-right.
Right. I mean, the amount of litigation and paperwork and taxes and help me out here. I mean, just the amount of stuff that the average person has to wade through to create a business, the amount of fees and applications and all of these things.
It hinders individual prosperity and it limits consumer choice. If you have more choices, you're not. At least corporations will not be able to be as big as they are. and there will be somebody else to pick up where they fail. They're not going to be too big to fail. They have bought senators. They have bought legislation that favors them. That is where the problems come to exist.
Basically, the alt-right, as far as my story is concerned, started around Bush. I mean, we're not Bush people. We're people that are not Bush people, and we're not Obama people, and we're not full-blooded libertarians, but we're not full-blooded Republicans. We're just in this space that has been created by a void everywhere else. And now, for her to come out and demonize us all, or to, fearmonger, race bait, whatever you want to call it, when we're trying to actively push for the Bill of Rights and Constitution, which states that all men and women, I'm going to paraphrase, men and women, are created equal. And that is a huge point. Like, we are, the alt-right, for the most part, is non-war, is anti-war, is non-interventionist. But we do care about securing our borders, because how can we go and fix another country far away when we can't secure our own borders?
We are not against immigration.
Absolutely not. Fast.
We have a very liberal.
Help the economy.
We have a very liberal immigration policy, and who do you hear talking about limiting our immigration policy? Now, when it comes to the matter of, say, Syrian refugees, we want to know who we are letting into our country. And there is a definite concern about compatibility of cultures. That cannot be construed as racism, as this is a very legitimate concern, and we're seeing these problems of that very thing unfolding in Europe. And that's a problem we don't want to experience here in our own country.
And not only is it, we don't need the disease. These people have to be vetted. They have to be looked after for health concerns. How are you going to control that with people spilling into the country, unchecked, unvetted, and unlooked at for medical treatment? Yeah.
Well, anyways, there you have it. There is a few points of the alt-right and our
quick take. We're trying to do
quick take to stand up against being called racist, bigoted, conspiracy theory, homophobe.
Because we absolutely don't deserve it. And we're for everybody's rights.